Hello and welcome to another Unmet Style podcast. I'm here at the In Control Conference in Orlando, Florida, talking with Aarron Walter.
Hello again.
Hey, hello. Aarron, you're here. You're going to talk about emotional. What do you title it? It's like emotional design.
It's about emotional design, and it's really a lot about psychology, the way our brains work, and I'm kind of fascinated about the relationship of our cerebral cortex, which is kind of the way we think about ourselves, is that we've got this big, massive gray matter, and we're really intelligent, and we navigate the world with a lot of logic, but the reality is we're not Dr. Spock. Right. Most of the way that we make decisions on a day-to-day basis is with what's called our lizard brain, which is our limbic system, and that's like at the base of your brain where emotions are formed, and actually long-term memory is recorded there as well. So emotion is such a critical part of interface design, because when we're designing interfaces, we're really designing pathways for people, and we're telling stories, we're communicators. And a lot of the way that people make decisions is through emotion. So why did I choose to wear what I'm wearing today? Or the way that we kind of style our identity and our physical person and online and so forth has a lot to do with emotional decision making. I mean, there's some logic that happens there. I won't deny that. But when it boils down to it, there are a lot of times where we find multiple logical options. And how do we arrive at a final decision? It's by saying, well, this feels right. That emotion is the tiebreaker in the decision-making point. And if you think about like the types of conversations we have in interface design, it's like about getting people to convert, to sign up, or getting them to complete a task, that sort of thing. It's all about decision-making points, keeping them on that path and helping them complete that task. If we could use emotion, if we could think about that psychology, lizard brain, limbic system stuff, we could perhaps make a better experience for people. And it's not just about like, okay, I got this conversion, but it's also the softer side of usability, that I felt good about that experience. Mm-hmm. And then that encourages me to tell others. Yeah,
so is that like, we were talking a little bit about the definition of user experience, right? There's a lot of discussion about that always online. So is that your primary approach to user experience? Designing for user experience, like tackling the emotional side?
Well, so in the talk that I'm doing today and the book that I'm working on now too, I talk about this hierarchy of needs, which is based on the idea of the 1950s Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is just a series of strata getting up to the top, where you've got these base needs, and then it enhances to like the self-actualization of forming an identity and relationship in a community. And we can apply that to interface design, and at the base of that, an interface needs to be functional. Once it's functional, it needs to be reliable. We can count on it, so no fail whales. Then it needs to be usable, that we can perform the tasks we want to perform. And then there's an emotionally engaging, a pleasurable aspect that's at the top. And the premise of what I've been researching in my work at MailChimp and for my book and for my talks and stuff is that top piece, that I feel like we've set that bar low, that for the past 10 years we've been working really hard just to get things usable, which is fantastic. That's a noble cause and a very important thing that I'm sure is that our users appreciate that we're heading towards. But couldn't we make something that's more pleasurable, that's memorable, that's fun, or that inspires trust? So it's just a deeper engagement level.
So how would you tell me to apply that to my normal practice? Like we've got usability down, right? We know how to test for that. How do we get into applying that emotional theory, I guess?
There are lots of different ways of thinking about the application, and the thing that I like about emotional design is that it's not cut and dried. Like I can't just give you a list of do these 10 things and you will have an emotionally engaging experience. It's really the conversation that I want to build around this is just that we could reflect on what we're doing and think about how we're being perceived. But I think one place that people can start is by creating a brand persona. And so we spend a lot of time as user experience designers. We do research in the field, we research our users, try to understand what they need, and then we design for that, which is great. So we're always asking who are they, but we never ask who are we. And what we're really trying to do as interface designers is we're trying to shift from human-computer interaction to human-to-human interaction, where our interface is that layer between the humans that are connecting here. So creating a brand persona is flipping that on its head and saying, okay, so this is the persona of the brand that I'd like to create. It has a personality, that a product could be a personality or like a person. And if that were a person, who is it? What are its traits, its personality traits? Is it an aggressive and somewhat friendly personality, or is it sort of curmudgeon and kind of spiteful personality, which may be appropriate in some situations, or maybe it's docile and trustworthy. So we identify those, we create that persona, and once we have that, it's sort of like a framework on which we can hang our ideas and think about, like, is this the right thing for this interaction that we're going to design here? Like if we were going to create an Easter egg, or we were going to create like some fun discovered experience, or maybe a game theory inspired experience. Is that appropriate for this personality? So that's something that's hard and fast that I feel like a lot of people could just start there and then use that as their starting point. But it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. So what might work really great for unmatched style or a project you're working on for a client might not work for what we're doing at MailChimp. And a lot of people have said to me, like, well, that's great what you're doing at MailChimp, but I can't do that at my university or the bank that I work for. And that's true. I don't want them to do that, because if they did, they would create a catastrophic experience. It's about thinking about both sides there, that we're matchmakers and trying to match both sides to create something that's really memorable.
You recently redesigned the MailChimp site and the interface, kind of upfitted it, I guess, to match the new design. How did you guys balance that website redesign with the app itself?
So this is the redesign process has been, it's a long chess match. So we have hundreds of thousands of people using the app, and you can't just like flip it on its head overnight. I know that some people felt like we flipped it on its head, but all we really did just a few weeks ago was we changed the colors. That was basically it. And I know that seems dramatic, but we started last year, about 7 months ago, making small shifts, knowing that where we were going was where we are today. We're moving in that direction, and so let's make a change over here to the interface that people might notice, they might not. We switched from Trebuchet for headings to Helvetica, knowing that the product site was going to be very Helvetica based. And then we made a few organizational changes and stuff. So it's like, make this move over here so you can make this move to make that move. And what you can do is, that euphemism that you can boil a frog in a pot of water if you put them in while the water's cold and just slowly heat it up. That's exactly what we were doing.
It's interesting. It's like designing a forest.
Yeah. It really is. That's the idea, because we know that change can be a freaky thing for people, and that doesn't mean that we're not going to change, because although people might not like the idea of change, they probably would not like us if we did not change. They would become disenchanted.
Yes.
So we have to change, but we'll do that in a slow, gradual way that helps people keep on doing what they're doing.
Great. Well, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We like MailChimp. We like what you do. We like following you. So
cool.
Thanks for talking with us again.
Thanks a lot.